I'm gonna be honest, I've never really liked this map. I still don't really like this map. It's grown on me a little bit since the game came out, but I still don't really like it. And I'm sure that's contrary to most people's opinion given the frequency it's voted for. And to be honest, I can't even really put my finger on why it is I don't like it, but I'm pretty sure it's not actually the map's fault. I think it's everyone else's fault. I think it's your fault. And that may sound strange, but this is honestly like one of those prime examples of a good map that's ruined by the way people play it. Because it has the misfortune that many maps have of an area that just attracts douchebags. And in Call of Duty that means an area that's easy to camp, which attracts campers. And I'm pretty sure most people can sympathise when I say the pawn shop roof can go kill itself. And it's one of the most potentially irritating camping spots in the entire game, especially if you're playing with randoms and you're against a group of people all coordinating to camp up there, and there's like 2 IEDs on each ladder, a person with a gun watching the top of each ladder, an IMS at the bottom, and if you're really lucky, LMG head glitching everywhere. And when a game becomes entirely centered around that roof, this map becomes horrible. On the bright side, it's grown on me as of late because there actually seems to be relatively less of that going on. Maybe that isn't the same story for everybody here, but maybe I've gotten lucky. It still happens on some games, but not to the same extremes that it did in the first few weeks of the game coming out. Maybe it's because I played Kill Confirmed and people have finally realised that long-range camping on Kill Confirmed won't actually help you win the game. So maybe there is hope for this map. Maybe we can be friends. I'd certainly like to be friends with it. I think one of the big signs of a well-designed map is one way you can use any class of gun to do well on. And that's not to say maps geared around long or short ranges specifically are bad, but they do force you to play a certain type of game. And they force you into using certain classes for a chance to do well. But on a map like this, you can use any class. It lets you play whatever kind of game you're in the mood for, which is nice. You know, some days you might be in the mood for sniping, other days you want to get up in people's faces with an SMG or shotgun. And this map caters for both of those. And when the game came out, I literally just ran around this map with a TAC-12 shotgun. And usually did pretty well. It's a little bit inconsistent, it's quite difficult. But you can make it work, and you can definitely make SMGs work. That's what this gameplay is. LMGs work, and if LMGs work, then snipers do. People often seem to separate those gun classes as kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. But you know, if an LMG works, then a sniper will work. They're both long range, and if LMGs and snipers work and SMGs work, then assault rifles definitely do, because they'll cover everything in between. Nonetheless, I think most people associate this map with long-range fighting. There's a lot of snipers, a lot of LMGs. Assault rifles are very common. So maybe an SMG seems a bit of an odd choice, but I've always found this to be what I do well with most consistently. And that just comes back to what I was saying about how you can play this map any way you want to. And this is lucky moment number 1. I got to turn around just at the right time. There is a lucky moment number 2 at some point during this. And this is the way I see this map, and this is the way I've always played this map, probably because, as I say, I used to run around with it with a shotgun on it when the game came out, so I've just kind of progressed on from that a little bit. I don't know. But this map is in 2 halves. On one side you have the pawn shop and the broken building, and they're separated by that gas station. And on the other half you have the bus station and the strip club, and they're separated by the small road with the abandoned buses on it, which I'm running towards here at the moment. And the 2 halves are separated by the big ass road down the middle. Now obviously the spawns are ideally delegated to 1 half per team, as accurately as possible. But what they also do is tend to lean more heavily to 1/4, i.e., you know, a team will all spawn behind the strip club at one time or behind the bus station, etc., etc. So what I aim to do with a short range class like this is cross the big middle road to their spawn half, but ideally into the quarter that they're not spawning in. Because what most of the team will do upon spawning is they'll just run forward and they'll just go to whatever building they spawn there, and they'll kind of set up with their LMGs and whatever, and they'll watch the big road in the middle, and they'll be very well equipped to kill people in windows on the opposite side or people trying to cross the road. So what you want to do is cross the road in the half that they're not spawning in, because there's less likely to be people there. If people spawn behind the strip club, they'll definitely run into the strip club. They'll be in the top bit, they'll be in the front doorway, they'll be lying on the truck outside, etc, etc. So I would want to cross on the bus station half, for example. But once you're in there, spawn half, all you need to do is go to work on where they're held up. The strip club side entrance into the pawn shop, those kind of routes. It's a lucky moment number 2, so I can aim for Dizzle. I've got a nice little wallbang there. But the advantage to playing like this is people's attention is on the main road. Once you've had that little risky run across the main road, you're up for a lot of free kills. People, as I say, tend to be looking towards the main road. They tend to be looking out of windows, and if you run in from where they're spawning, you're going to end up behind a lot of them, to the side of a lot of them, and you can start picking up a lot of easy kills. Now, obviously, that's the kind of ideal strategy. Games never go that smoothly, just because people don't always play as predictably as you think they will. Sometimes you'll just cross in a bad spot and come face to face with people. And as you saw, that happened earlier. Luckily the guy turned around at the last second. But sometimes also both teams will end up in the same half at once, and there's a big push, and that makes things really difficult to judge. And I think that also happens in this gameplay at some point, but it means the enemy's attention is pulled to where I would usually be sneaking in from, and the spawn will start getting really jazzy. But for the most part, that kind of plan should get you a decent number of kills. The real difficulty in playing like this is judging when to cross the main road. You have to do that just as the spawn swap, quickly enough that they don't get too well set up and kill all the people trying to cross the road, but not so quickly that you'll run into a group of 4 people all walking off their spawn together. And it's for that reason really that this map's been a bit of a thorn on my side in terms of getting chems. It seems like every 1 in 3 games I'll get a 20 streak or above. But it will get cut short. I'll either get killed trying to cross the road at a bad time, or I'll run out of time in the map altogether. Teammate here was nice enough to run across the map and give me a ballistics vest, but I actually forgot I was already wearing one, so apologies again to him. So yeah, I'll either get cut down trying to cross the road, or I'll just run out of time. There's not enough kills to be had. I'm playing too cautious. And you may be thinking, well, surely it's just easier to pick up a longer range weapon, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really do well in the whole long range standoff situation. A lot of people play this map like, as I say, just a lot of people sit on one side of the road trying to kill people on the other side. It kind of ends up in this weird LMG assault rifle standoff, snipers. I don't know. In Kill Confirmed anyway, if you're trying to win the game, playing like that's not overly useful. So I much prefer to kind of just try and cross the road, work into their half, push into their quarter, shoot them all in the back, be a real dishonest arsehole, basically. And that's generally what I try to do in this gameplay. There are some times when I don't know where they're spawning, and at that point you kind of have to, if you're on a big streak, you kind of have to just stop and think for a second. The one other good thing about this map, actually, I think it has the best spawns in the game. I hadn't thought about it until recently, but there are very few times on this map where I think that was a bad spawn. It does just seem to have it together. This Oracle was an absolute lifesaver. This is a moment where I'm actually in their quarter, but this is the building they're all running into. And as you see, they're all just crowding up outside the door because I think they know I'm in here. But yeah, I think the spawns on this map are actually very good. It's rare that I can say that for this game, but the spawns are good on this map. So if you ever find yourself not sure where they're spawning, just wait for some guns to get fired on the map, and that's usually where their entire team will be centered around. Obviously other things, silence is generally pretty important for this, just because you're running in behind people a lot, and if you end up in their spawn, having a silencer is generally pretty useful. If you're going to be staying close range anyway, it's just a good idea to have a silencer. I've got 2 care packages throughout the street, which I didn't really realise until quite late on. So I just called them in the beginning. I take this guy's maniac as well, just for lols. Anyway, that about wraps it up. I don't get to use any of these kill streaks, unfortunately. Whenever I can use them, it's a satcom, but this time I got a dog, a maniac, and a griffin right at the end of the match. Go figure. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
Oh!
Guard dog ready. Griffin available. Mission accomplished. A good day's work.
Oh,